Hello and welcome to the presentation here on Edpuzzle. I'm going to be discussing specifically how in a self-paced classroom Edpuzzle is a valuable educational tool. This is sort of the homepage for Edpuzzle, and really most of what you need is on the left side here. I will be getting through all of that as the video progresses. Specifically, this video will have four objectives. The first is to explain what Edpuzzle is. The second is to show how to create and add content to Edpuzzle. The third is to discuss how data is collected and how grading is streamlined by Edpuzzle. And finally, to laud the benefits of Edpuzzle as a useful classroom tool. I guess I hope that laud is a valuable word in this space as an action. So we'll get right to these objectives now. Edpuzzle is most valuable for teachers who subscribe to the flipped classroom philosophy. It is valuable because students are watching content as they would from the teacher, but they're not eating up class time that could instead be used for, say, homework help or other questions. In a perfect world, a student would have seen the video ahead of time and been aware of the information in the video coming into class so that a teacher can, work on questions and potential homework there as well. It is a video sort of hosting site, I suppose. Videos vary in length. These are sample videos that Edpuzzle has. These are not videos that I've created. These are videos that Edpuzzle has available. They range, in 9 minutes here, 2.5 minutes. I have some that are an hour and a half. It just depends on the size of the video. Typically, they don't allow videos larger than 1 GB. All right, so my next step now is to show you how to add or create content to your Edpuzzle class that you've created. First, what you'll want to do is in the upper right here, go to My Classes, click on My Classes, and in the interest of some confidentiality, my goal here is to kind of show you just a sample class that I created. This is my class for my students and my homeroom, my advisory. But my sample class doesn't have anything in it yet. The first thing that you'll want to do once you've created your class, and all I did to create this sample class was go to add new class here. And they work closely with Google Classroom, which you can import your students from there. We don't, as a school, we don't use Google Classroom. We in fact use Schoology, so I couldn't use this, but they make it fairly easy other ways as well. So all I have to do is click on Invite Students. And once the students have gone to edpuzzle.com and hit sign in, they sign in as either a teacher or a student. Obviously, they are students. I have them sign in with Google, so to speak, and it opens up a new window and they click on their school account and then they're in, and then it asks them to enter a class code. So I would just put this class code up on the board, or I have a poster with my class codes on it. I could also copy this link and you know shoot that out to them through maybe a social media site or however I decide to reach them, or I can share it on mail, which looks like this. So if I just click that, it opens a new window and a new sort of outgoing mail page here. So then I would just send that to whatever email each student has and hit send, and they get the same code here. Okay, so here we are back at the sample class page. I just went and added myself via a separate email to the class so that you can see what that would look like once there is content available. So what I'd like to do is show how to add content to the class. There are a few ways to do this. Edpuzzle already has content created for you, so if you're looking for a specific thing, you can use what they have, or you can create your own and add that to through uploading from your computer or creating your own video right here on the website. So the first one I'm going to show you is the content that they already have on the website. So you just click up here on content, and let's say, well, I'm trending in literature and language arts. I'm going to choose, there's 3 questions. This video has 3 questions. I know that because of this piece here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to hit copy down here. Edpuzzle copied to your content, which is over here, my content. So now I know that that is in my list of content. And so what I'm going to do is I'll actually just go to that over here. Oh, all right, there it is. This is some other stuff that I actually assigned to my students. So I would click there. I would hit assign, and which class do I want to assign it to? In this case, I want to assign it to my sample class. Start date today. Due date you can change. Maybe we'll make it the end of the week. Once that's done, close captions, prevent skipping. The video will not allow you to move the video ahead. You have to watch everything that's on the video, and answer each of the questions. Then you just hit assign. So here it is, and this is sort of my gradebook view. I really like this as a teacher because it tells me who the student is. In this case, it's me. How much of it they've watched in real time. So when I go back and I start to watch this video, it will show it, 20%, 40%, 80%. And when they're done, it'll say like what time the video has been completed and turned in, last watched, and then what grade they had on it. And let's say I want to, see what specific answers the students gave. And I just haven't viewed the video yet, but here's a grade, percent watched, correct answers out of 3, not turned in. And then at each one, like these numbers will change as I would start to watch the video, and then here are the questions and the answers that I might have given. Then you just move through your students this way up here. All right, so I'm going to keep coming back to this page as sort of my home base. I've told you that there were 3 ways that you can add content to Edpuzzle. The first is to add content that is already uploaded on the website. The second is to add content that maybe you've created on your own, and maybe is saved to your computer, and that's what we're going to do right now. So to add content to upload from your computer, all you do is go to content here, and this brings us back to that page where I can add content that's already on the website. But I could just go to my content, right? And then let's say I want to add, here's one that I created that's an hour and 26 minutes long. There's 30 questions. Just click here, and then down here I've got a few different options. I want to assign it to my sample class, and then hit assign. So one thing I do want to show though before we get there, or before I would move on much further here, let's say that I want to add content. So I go to my content here, I go to add content, I go to upload a video, choose file, and then the video opens up and your options from your computer show up there. It will then upload to your content, and you can add it just as I just did with that Master Herald video. All right, and so here we are back at the sort of main page, the checkpoint, the home page that I said that we would always come back to. One of the last ways I wanted to show you how to add content to your class was again to click on my content over here. You go to add content and you go to create video. So then you just come over here, and it brings up a page with lots of pre-made videos. Um, right now, all subjects, but because of who I am, I want literature and language arts. And I am going to choose, hey, Motown Black History Month, minute 58, 12 questions. I want to click that there, copy, and then assign. And I'm going to assign it to our sample class. This is a sample class. I can have the option to turn on closed captions, prevent skipping. I like that, like prevent skipping ahead in the video. Assign here. And now this assignment has been added to the list of things that my students have to do. And that is me, just a different email account that I signed up in again, which is what I'm going to show you next. Kind of what that looks like once their students start the assignment. So I relogged in under the student side. I am now Nate Doimer, the student, and not Nate Doimer, the instructor. And I'll just show you what this kind of looks like here. Remember, I had hit prevent skipping, so I cannot skip ahead.
Well, they all have one thing in common. They made names for themselves in Motown.
Oh, so the first pause here, and I get a question here on the right. What do all of these famous groups and singers share? I'm going to write, they made a name for themselves in Motown. Submit. Continue. So I'm up to my second question here. Open-ended question. As a teacher, I have an option to do an open-ended question, a multiple choice question, or a short answer question, and they've chosen open-ended. And what is the origin of the word Motown? Click here to find the answer, and that's going to bring me to a dictionary and explain kind of everything about it, which is a neat perk of Edpuzzle. Let's say, what is the origin of the word Motown? What if I don't know if I need to rewatch something? What is the origin of the word Motown? Then it didn't actually tell me in the video yet, but I can go here to find the answer. From Motown Records of Detroit, center of the U.S. car industry. Click submit. And now let's say class ended. This is as far as I got into the video, 22 seconds. And as a student, I have to pause. That's okay, it saves for me, which is great. And I'm going to click over and show you what the teacher sees at this point. So this is my list of content. And if I click on the video, I can see that there are 2 answers to grade because I, as a student, answered two questions. I last watched 4 minutes ago, and I've completed 10% of the video. So it keeps a real-time update of where your students are at. So there are times where I do actually, when I'm just coming back from talking to a student or something like that, I'll come back to my screen and just kind of get a check-in of where my students are at. Sometimes they're at 0, sometimes they're at 80 or 50 or whatever. And those 0 students, those are ones I tend to pay a little more attention to and make sure that they are on task and working. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of how Edpuzzle works. I believe at this point I can show you how to add questions to a video. So if I want to assign a video, I click this link here, then I just click assign to the specific class that I want to assign it to. However, before I do that, I want to edit the video. You cannot edit already assigned videos. And so what I'm going to do here is click edit. And then I'm allowed to do a few different things. I'm allowed to crop a video, do a voiceover, add audio notes, and enter quizzes, like quiz questions along the way. Which are those questions that it paused in the Motown video that I went through and I looked at and answered. As far as cropping the video, I don't want to do that because I already did that. I created these videos actually in iMovie and then uploaded them to Edpuzzle. So any cropping has already been done. But I mean, it's a fairly streamlined process. You know, for cropping the video, it works really well. What I'm gonna focus on today is quizzes, which I think are useful and important. And so what I'm going to do is skip ahead here, find a good place to show you
how that looks.
Here. So once we get to the end, basically what it is I read this murder mystery, and there's always something that one of the characters has seen and can identify a flaw in the argument, and then this is the question at the end. So I'll just kind of go through this.
Deeply. He found he was doing a lot of that lately. Sighing. This would not have happened in Loretto, he was sure. He sighed again, wondering whether, by putting pressure on the courier, maybe arresting her, or threatening her, he could get her to tell the truth. What can we infer based on Jeff's sighing and these last couple lines about whether or not he believes her, the courier? It says,
so then I want to ask a question. Maybe the question is, what can we infer about Jeff's sighing? And once I write that question, and I can bold and italicize and those sorts of things here. This would be the open-ended question. This would be the multiple choice. Should I want that? And you just choose, you know, which one you want to be correct. But one answer at least has to be correct. So I don't know. We'll just choose that one. If I want to add an answer, I can do those things here. Or I can make it into a short answer as well. But I'm going to stick with an open-ended question. Then I just hit save. Then I just hit continue.
Says, this would not have happened in Loretto.
And on it goes.
He was sure.
And so once that's done, then you have successfully added a question. Should you maybe not want to add all your questions at once, just hit save and it will save kind of where you're at. Once you hit finish, it asks you to assign, like, what class do you want to assign it to. So then we would assign it to sample class. I don't want to officially assign it, however, because I want to be able to edit this. So I'm not going to officially assign it. And so Edpuzzle works as in a self-paced classroom, because once I upload the videos and input the questions, the students can just work at their own pace and complete as much work as they want to, or as little work as they want to. But if I've created quality videos that, you know, address the correct standards, and they model, and they teach, they give examples, they allow for reflection, those sorts of things, all the things I would be doing in front of a classroom anyway, it allows me to sort of move past that phase of teaching, which in my current setting is actually valuable. And it works in a flipped classroom too, because then once they're working on these videos, I am able to sort of get right in there with them and help them through the videos, talk to them about other things that might be going on in class. But with the classes that I have and the students who are in my classes, they just need a lot of one-on-one attention for many reasons, and so I'm able to do that if they are working through their assignments on these videos, and that's why it works so well for a self-paced classroom in an at-risk setting. So the research that suggests that at-risk students do learn from technology in part comes from here, using technology to support at-risk student learning, written for the Stanford Center for Opportunity Policy and Education, by Linda Darling Hammond, Molly B. Zielinski, and Shelley Goldman. One of the conclusions that they draw says that as schools, districts, and states plan the ways that they will purchase materials and use technology, they should consider that at-risk students benefit most from technology that is designed to promote high levels of interactivity and engagement with data and information in multiple forms. Substantial research illustrates that activities supporting many kinds of interactions between learners and the material, including different visualizations of concepts, multiple ways of seeing, hearing, and learning about them, and opportunities to be active in manipulating data, expressing ideas, and other aspects of the learning process, were essential to support learning by lower achieving and other at-risk students. So, what this means for Edpuzzle. Because I can create videos in a program like iMovie, I can add and take away different, visualizations of concepts. It is essentially an audiobook. If I read something to them and ask them questions intermittently along the way, they are getting it a different way. At least they're getting the audiobook, and they appreciate that. Multiple ways of seeing. If we're reading, say a chapter out of a novel that also has been made into a movie, To Kill a Mockingbird or The Great Gatsby or something like that, I can intermix scenes from that chapter. So they're getting sort of to read and see what's going on. Hearing obviously would play along with the different visualizations of data. And learning about them and opportunities to be active in manipulating data, expressing ideas. They get to share without maybe the stress of having to share in class, in front of others. They get to share on the questions via Edpuzzle that I post. They're more just for me as the instructor. Sometimes that is more comfortable for students. And so there are lots of ways that Edpuzzle is valuable for at-risk students, and there are lots of ways that I'm just sort of starting to scratch the surface of. I expect that the more that I use Edpuzzle, the more that I will be able to do with the flipped classroom concept. As a cross-reference of research, I've found more relevant information in Technology and the Fate of At-Risk Students, written by Robert B. Kozma and Robert G. Croninger out of the University of Michigan, where they write their recommendations for the effective use of technology in the classroom. Some things that they suggest are that computers would be best used in conjunction with collaborative groups of students organized around goal-oriented tasks. Rather than drill and practice software, these tasks should involve rich, interactive simulations and microworlds that embed the need for basic skills in higher-order thinking. And finally, LCHG suggests that media can be effectively used to connect students to family, community, and other cultures, particularly those in which their ethnic and language characteristics are dominant. So, two things that in my short time in alternative learning centers I've learned. The first is that these students, more than any students I previously taught when I was in mainstream schools, they need to know why. Um, you're not just going to be able to say, uh, you're going to read this novel because of its writing style, or because it's part of the canon, or whatever. Other reasons that we sometimes teach novels for. They need to know that what they're doing is going to um, affect their life um, in the future. They don't sort of play school well in that sense. You can't just say read this. With some students, you could say read Dr. Seuss, and they would read it and analyze it, and really search for meaning within it. Well, these students don't want to do that because they don't that sort of thing has not hit them when they were in their mainstream schools. They've come to an ALC to get down to brass tacks, so to speak. They want to know that what they're doing is going to affect their life beyond high school, because college typically is not in their future. That while that's not true for everybody, it is true for I would still say a majority. And also they feel underrepresented, and so technology can kind of give us give them, I suppose, that connection to family, community, and other cultures, particularly those in which their ethnic language characteristics are dominant. They don't see themselves in what they're learning, and technology can sort of open that door for them. And the truth is, it can open that door for students in the mainstream classroom too. But it does, maybe hit home more for that at risk student as well. And so, in conclusion, while many of the strategies and reasons that I just discussed out of that research do apply to all students, at risk students are just a unique breed. They require a lot of commitment and careful consideration of what has made them into that at risk student that they are. And it is my contention that Edpuzzle and the flipped classroom technology option provides an opportunity for students to thrive at a time when they were likely to fail. Thank you for following along with my presentation, and I hope that you took something from it.